Now we will continue with this book here, and we did find it. It's in the Surah 4, and I'm not going to read you his translation. It is a little different than the one by Cleary, but not that much different. Now, what this commentator does in a long section, he goes through all of this section here that we just read, and this is a very long section, and it goes through this section that you see right here. That goes through all of the scripture in the New Testament that talks about Jesus. And I will not read all of that because that way you'd simply have to go to the scripture yourself. I might do that another time. But I do want to read one comment he has down here, or a couple comments that are interesting. Now, this I will read right from his book, so you'll have to be patient with me because it's very small print. Now it says, the word Shabdullah Lahum may bear two interpretations. He was made to be like or to resemble it, or the matter was made dubious or obscure. The Rub La'amant says the meaning may be that the matter became dubious to them. The story that someone else was made to resemble Jesus is not borne out by the words of the Quran, which could only mean, if the object was mentioned, that Jesus was made to resemble someone, not that someone made to resemble Jesus. Now here it says that Jesus was made to resemble someone, not that someone was made to resemble Jesus. Now you see how that commentary is different than what that verse sounds like. Now here's a further commentary. He goes on to say, for the significance of RAF being the exalted in the divine presence was opposed to being killed on the cross. Now here it says to go to Deuteronomy 21, verse 23 explains this. For there we have that he is hanged, is accursed of God. If Jesus had died on a cross, he would have been accursed. Hence the statement made here, he was not killed on the cross and accursed, but he was exalted in the divine presence. And then it goes on to talk about the people who believe about the death of Jesus and the differences between them in the scripture. Now, the scriptural sections in here are very significant because the Jesus being seen in the scripture after he was dead, being seen by those who saw him and others didn't see him, and some felt that he was already resurrected, like the woman who saw him in the garden, didn't even know who he was. So when she says she saw him as a gardener, not as Jesus. So these are all questions the scripture has. Now, I won't go further in here, but there are other books with commentary which get even into this more interesting way. So we will stop here and go to another book for further commentary.